Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Syncopation by Whitney French. This is a book that came out in 2026 from Woolsack and Win. It's a poetry collection. I received this book from River Street Reads in exchange for a fair review. So I meant to review this book way back in March, but I took it with me on March break to my aunt's house in Ottawa, and then I left it there for quite a while. It ties into one of the main themes of the book, which is memory. Lyrical and complex, Syncopation is a fascinating blend of verse and poetry. What's it about? In the aftermath of a memory war, society is fragmented into strange new cultures, castes, and coalitions. O and Z are two young women searching for purpose in a world where a decades-long earthquake reverberates through the Earth's crust, and the population scrambles to hide from deadly acid rain. Descended from space pirates, O is drawn to the sky, while Z is earthbound, a skilled forager with connections to the black market. The two become travel companions and lovers until they are torn between choosing their values or each other. So yeah. Sorry, there's a tagline at the end and I just stopped reading it. So it took me a while to really connect with this one, namely because rather than being an epic poem like Beowulf, or there's this book that I read called Sharp Teeth, it's way up there, I'm not going to go get it, which is like tells a continuous story, simply doing it in verse. This book is pretty much just straight up poetry that you slowly realize is telling a narrative story. Some poems fit directly with those before or after them, but some seem sort of disparate from the rest, and I think that's kind of why I had trouble kind of connecting with it. Yet once I got further into it, and one of the major themes of the book is kind of explained in a sense, the way it's told actually really worked for me. It's the idea of syncopation itself, the title, which is the use of like off beats or like weak beats to break up a typical musical cadence. It features heavily in jazz and funk. The author does this with the narrative being told in poetry, but also how the poetry itself is formatted. It's very clever. Like there's a lot of jumps, there's a lot of enjambment. There's a lot of kind of, there's a good one I had right here. Where'd it go? Kind of this sort of thing. The thing is, this limits the poems in a way, making them about the story more than a sort of kind of lofty takes on various topics. There was really only one poem I really loved, and that was the one Parched number 3. I really do prefer like the lofty takes on various topics when it comes to poetry, so this is like a me thing and not a book thing. The book, though, despite it being told in disjointed poetry, managed to give us two characters, O and Z, and give them personality, conflict, and motives. I did find their love story could have had a bit more focus, and that certain sci-fi world-building elements actually suffered from being in verse, because I wasn't sure if the descriptions were metaphor or literal. But it was really engaging and interesting. One of the aspects I really enjoyed were the references to and allusions to various locations in southwestern Ontario, which is where I live. And so it was cool to be like, hey, I know where that is. And hey, I know what they're referencing there. Because a lot of the times with poetry, especially if I'm reading it from like the United States and stuff, I'm like, I don't know what that is. So it is fun to kind of have that sort of, what's the word? Interpolation. Wow, I remembered a word from a long time ago. That's where you're like called out by the book. Anyway, this is a hard book to review, but if you enjoy narrative verse, poetry in general, or are looking for something a little different and ambitious and set in Ontario, it's well worth the read. It's interesting. Yeah, just give it some time. Give it like a good third of the book before you really kind of get the feel of it and kind of start jiving with it, and then you'll probably really like it. It's really fascinating, and I'd be really interested to see some of the author's other work that was maybe standalone lofty topics. So yeah, thank you again to River Street for the review copy, and sorry again for the delay. Yeah, memory issues. Thanks.